So Brian Dixon, who ran All Star Promotions, every year, I, I don't know when it ended, but when I was working for him in the late 80s and early 90s, when I was in Britain, I wasn't in Britain much from 88 through 92. I'd only be in Britain a few months of the year, then I'd be off on my travels because we've talked about that, where I was fortunate enough to get taken in by a Terry Rodge and Pete Robertson, Dave Taylor and people, and they put me into different countries, and Dalabar Singh and people that were always very good to me. Brian Dixon every year had this show in a place called Linlithgow in Scotland, and it was in a marquee, a big posh tent, and it was a Rotary Club. Do you have the Rotary Club in America?
We do.
And it's for businessmen, and
Absolutely.
is that the same
thing? Same thing the other. I have one in my town.
Okay, so it was a Rotary Club do. Now it's all men, and it's in Scotland, so they're all dressed up in their attire, which is the kilts and the sporrans, the things they wear around the waist, and the nice jackets and the lovely frilly shirts, and it's a lovely. They have a lovely way of dressing when they have to dress up, the Scots. Very, and I have a lot of Scottish friends. Unlike a lot of English people, I get on with all the other. I've never had. There's a lot of English people are little-minded and don't seem to get on with the Scots and the Welsh and the Irish. I've always got on with everybody. So, but they're all dressed like that. They have no interest in watching wrestling. Let's just say that. They want to see, there's no polite way of saying this, but they want to probably have a couple of strippers and a what we call a blue comic.
It's a different crowd.
A comic who tells filthy jokes, right?
Sure.
I mean, that's what they want to say.
Right.
They certainly don't want wrestling on. But Brian Dixon had this show every year. It was a regular show. Myself and Robbie Brookside had gone on early. There was the first match that went on. None of these fellas were paying the slightest bit of attention. They're all sat round tables, playing cards, most of them, drinking whiskey, smoking cigars, couldn't care less about the wrestling. In this huge tent, no interest whatsoever, right? The first match went on, complete and utter, just nothing, silence. Me and Robbie went on. Myself and Robbie Brookside, when we wrestled each other, we prided ourselves on being able to turn non-wrestling fans into fans. We could wrestle we got to the point, and that was mostly because of him guiding me.
What a great mindset that is to get into, right? Like, if you're going to do that, you said episode 1, what can I take from this, right? And so you're in a situation where another wrestler might look at this crowd and say, well, damn, this is a no-win situation. But you guys are looking at it like, let's turn these people into fans.
Well, Brian Dixon had a saying, and it stuck with us, and it'd go, just let's make them have it. Which meant even if you had an odd crowd, your job is to make them have it. Whether they want it or not, you've got to get an emotional response out of these. Some people just didn't have the skill set or willing to go to whatever extra, because sometimes it meant me and Robbie going at it hard, or whoever, right? So we went on. By the middle of round 2, these fellas were not only watching us, the money that when I'm talking stacks of piles of money, they were betting on who was going to win. And this was a 6-round match. They were betting each other, throwing money on the table.
Like a dog fight.
Right. Because we just knew how to do that. We'd had a lot of experience. We used to get these tours of the British and American army bases in Europe. They've got no interest in watching wrestling. They just we did one once in a show in Germany. Sorry, in Britain. I did some of the German army bases, American and British army bases. We did one in Britain once, and one of the people in charge of the entertainment, they come over to me and went, "That was great, lads." He said, usually we get all kinds of acts, because these people who are kind enough and brave enough to protect our countries uh, are on these bases, army or air force, marine bases or whatever. Well, they get all kinds of they get everything as far as entertainment. And this fellow was explaining to us, it doesn't matter who they send, it could be the best act in the world. We don't even give them chance. It's like sport to us. It's
Right.
like sport.
Right.
And he used a word, and I had a phrase here, we just can them off. And I went, what's that? He said, well, we drink beer cans and we just, don't matter what they do, and we just start throwing cans at them.
Can them off
Right.
the
Can
stage.
them off.
Right.
Off
Right.
the
Yeah.
stage. Just can them off.
Right.
So I'm like, he said, you not only there was not one can thrown, you had them all betting and going mad for these matches we
Right.
did. So me and him, but we would go at it, right? And we would, there's so many hundreds of matches that we had that are all lost, with the exception of two. And I think I've told this story. One of them isn't. One's in a gym, in the power plant in Atlanta, and the other one is not the best of anywhere. Probably the worst match we ever had, and that was down to me because I ended up eating 2 meals because I stopped at families, and I was too polite to turn them down, and I was stuffed. So it's not, although it's not bad, it's nothing like the kind of matches we made a names for ourselves. And again, that was mostly down to Robbie being 2 years older than me and being patient with me, and teaching me
Sure.
and all this stuff that all these other people had taught me. But he helped me form it all, right? And that's why we're so close friends. So we've gone on, and we've had these people, we've got them up in an uproar. But now the following match has gone on, and they've gone back to playing cards. But there's another 4 matches on. Well, Fit, I forget who Fit was on with, but Fit, he stood about, I'm near the back of the tent. The ring's about 50 feet away. There's a bar there. They're just going up and getting more bottles of whiskey and pints of beer and playing cards and completely ignoring the rest. This fella in his kilt and his lovely velvet black jacket and the white frilly shirt and he's a little inebriated, to put it mildly. He comes over and he said, that was wonderful. That match you had with that fella, he said, brilliant. He went, can't wait for I apologize for swearing on this. And he just pointed over at Fit, thinking that Fit couldn't hear him. Fit hasn't gone on yet. Fit, I know, because that night he knew how to get a crowd. He got the same response as we got, but in a villain way. We got it because of we're doing a competitive wrestling match. He got him because of his wrestling skills and incredible match, but got him wanting to kill him, if that makes any sense. We had a competitive match. He just knew how to get a crowd interested in what he was doing, and he's just watching from the back and seeing that's what a good pro do. We talked about that with John Cena, I think, the other week, how we always watch a match.
Sure.
Well, if you're on last, a good pro will be watching everything, so he knows what he's got to follow, right? Which is a little tip for everybody. You should know or if you've seen them do something that you might have had in your head, don't do it.
There's a million reasons to watch the whole.
A million reasons to watch, but Fit's behind like that. And this fella is going, that was great. That was unbelievable. Really good. He said, you two are tearing your heads up, each other's heads off. And he went, can't wait for that Irish bastard, he said, to get on here. He said, we're going to throw bottles and all kinds at him. Not thinking Fit can hear him.
Right.
Fitz come walking over. He went, all right, fella. And the fella's gone, oh, hello, Mr. Finley. How are you doing? Like completely switched it. Now, this is Fitz's side of the version, or Fitz's version of it when he told me, because I was right there.
Right.
This fella, I think, has put his hand out to shake Fitz's hand. Fit is used to having people attacking him.
Mm-hmm.
This hand has come out. Fit Finley, as this fella's hands come out, Fit Finley, there's a trick. I'm not going to show you how to do it, but I know how to do it. As this fella's hands come out, Fit Finley's just gone and snapped this fella's thumb off.
With 2 fingers. Breaks his thumb.
With 2 fingers, with a finger and a thumb, just gone. This fella's thumb has dislocated and it's just hanging. So his thumb is just hanging in the socket. And Fitz just walked away. Now, this fella is in complete, he's a little bit drunk, to put it mildly, but he's in complete shock. Because if you have ever done anything to your thumb, it's a hot, you don't know what to do. It's just, now I'm just stood there, just watching this fella's thumb. He's just swinging in his palm. It's hanging out the joint. But his body's gone into shock. He's not screaming. He's just in shock. And he's going, he's broke my thumb. He's broke my thumb. And he must have been a farmer, this fella, because there were a lot of rich farmers at the time.
Right.
He went, I've got to get up at 6 o'clock to milk the cows. He's broke my thumb. He's broke my thumb. He just can't stop saying it.
Right, right. He's
the
in
thumb's hanging
absolute
up.
shock.
He's in absolute shock. So I've just like patted him on the back and walked away and just started pissing myself laughing. I didn't know what else to do, like just left it there. But that's one of the few things that I can keep going on and on about with Fit Finley. He's not a man to be messed with.
Well,
let's put it that way.
And he comes by it honestly, because I believe I heard a story from Fit once on a video talking about his dad doing the same thing to somebody. Then that sounds really uncomfortable. So now, Mr. Regal, we are going to take just a couple questions from Twitter about Fit Finley. Are you ready, sir?
I certainly am.
Now, one question we had on Twitter, which is also a question I had, I got to interview this young man a couple years ago, and to watch him develop into this really, really, really good wrestler.